With the anime industry currently littered with adaptations, spin-offs, reboots, and now sequels of older anime, you'd figure that some of the most well-loved deserve that same treatment to fully complete their stories, or at least provide a better conclusion than what we were originally given. But life doesn't always work that way. We all know about those shows that end poorly, or not at all, narratively. Endings that just leave things hanging there unfinished, or perhaps finished, but definitely not in a satisfying way. So today, I wanted to take a quick look at 5 shows that, to me, are the worst victims of this. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, my name is Arcada, and today on Glass Reflection, 5 anime that need a sequel. Let's jam.
Only foolish men like their women to be weaklings. If I were a milky little princess of a girl, then you would have to be my knight and rescue me!
Spice and Wolf. If I were to tell you I loved a story about a wolf deity who travels with a merchant discussing economics as they traverse across a fictional land, most of you would probably tell me it sounds boring and move on. Luckily, superficial premises don't describe the quality of a series. Spice and Wolf is one of the few anime that actually makes exposition interesting. And for a subject as boring as economics, you know it's good writing when they can make the mundane seem captivating. Under classic economic theory, an economy will always move towards equilibrium at full capacity and full employment. Aggregate demand will adjust to full potential GDP assisted by flexible wages and prices. Desired savings are kept equal to desired investment by response to interest rate changes. I have a fine arts degree for a reason. The secret to the success behind Spice and Wolf are the 2 main characters, Holo and Lawrence, and it's the juxtaposition of mild-mannered and calm against impulsive and sharp-tongued that makes the interactions between these two that much more entertaining.
What are you doing?
I am joking now.
Stop it!
I can jest too.
Unfortunately, the second season stopped just around the time that they were entering the climax of the series, though I feel like stopped doesn't really do this travesty justice. After spending an entire arc away from the development of our main characters or the plot between them that's been slowly cultured since episode 1, the show ends with our duo calmly walking away from the city they spent the last several episodes in as parts of it burns to the ground. It gives off the impression that the story had finally gotten over its hiatus that it spent in that town and was finally ready to get the show back on the road so that Holo can reach her home in the north. But that was as far as the animation took it. A bunch of slop, a few brief moments of what we've been waiting for, and then wham! Go read the light novel. Though as bad as that ending was, there have been worse ways to end a show.
And how you feeling this morning, Stocking?
Fuck off. Don't talk to me until I've had my goddamn sugar.
Panty and Stocking. Panty and Stocking's ending is an example of having a show you really love. One with fun and entertaining characters, one with an engrossing story, just shit all over itself for no other reason in the end, except for the fact that it can. The show itself is a jaw-dropping, balls-to-the-wall, most non-anime anime I've ever had the pleasure of watching, and it ends not with a bang, not with a whimper, but with a heel turn so unexpected. It warped everything into an alternate reality. Gainax is a studio that is well known for ludicrous and nonsensical endings, but in all honesty, this one takes the cake. Sorry, I think I got a little ahead of myself. This list is not a worst endings ever, just freaking look at them, their existence proves my point list, but a list of shows that need sequels. And Panty and Stocking doesn't need a sequel in the traditional sense. Its story is not one that requires closure for the most part. It was largely an episodic experiment that bordered on themes far too risque for almost any other series before or since. It needs a sequel because there's no other show like Panty and Stocking. Not just in animation style, but in overall atmosphere and attitude. There are other shows that have language that you could make a fortune off with a swear jar. Shows that are far closer to the boundary of hentai than most others, but Panty and Stocking has this unique air of personality to it that we just don't have anywhere else. And of course, there's also the fact that we've been trolled. Twice now. First, with the ending itself, which was a masterwork of trolling that aired near Christmas, no less. It's a wonderful Christmas present, Gainax, thank you. But then, just last fall, Gainax West announced a new project using Panty and Stocking, which turned out to just be a cafe in Kobe. Yeah, real swell, Gainax. Real swell. That cafe is expected to close in early May, so perhaps if Gainax was just using it to test the waters to see how profitable a return of the dirty-mouthed angels might be, we'll find out soon enough. Moving on.
ちくしょう、何が駆け出し冒険者の街だ。ゲームだったらここでよくある反乱軍とかが助けに来てくれるのに。
Konosuba. Let's rip off the band-aid. I did not enjoy Konosuba Season 2. Shocking! I know. That's not saying that the sequel was bad, but the experience was equivalent to biting into overly sweet candy. Like, at first, it tastes really good. You get addicted to it, but after the second, third, and multiple helpings, you quickly get sick of it and later resent the aftertaste. And sadly, that's how I felt about this sequel. The key word Konosuba Season 2 was missing was progress. And this affects both the story and the characters. Kazuma is still the same asshole. Aqua is still worse girl. Darkness loves getting abused, and Megumin is secretly the love child of Michael Bay and his dynamite. But beyond those simple descriptions, what is there beyond that? Konosuba plays out to be an epic adventure quest, similar to the scale of Sword Art Online or Log Horizon, teasing a story of epic proportions. However, this concept never really took off and proceeded to repeat the same thing. And the frustrating part is that there were inklings of character development that could have taken the anime to the next level. This isn't easy to say, considering that Konosuba was my pick of best anime for 2016, but it's important to note that with every successful prequel, there comes the baggage and subsequent problems that the sequel must confront and later resolve. In short, Konosuba Season 2 is enjoyable. Yeah, but it doesn't go the extra length to truly become a meaningful series beyond its repetitive hijinks. Yes, that might have been the original intent. Sure, but when a series you like shows potential of other routes that could have been explored, you're kinda left dragging because it was on the verge of being great. Hopefully, if a third season were to be made, some of the qualms I have with the series can be resolved, but I'm not holding my breath on that. Could it be because I had too unreasonable an expectation for this sequel? Perhaps, but it only reinforces my belief that I had more respect for Konosuba than I think it had for itself.
Well, it's been about a month since we started school, and I've been enjoying my early morning hikes about as much as I could.
The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
The freaking melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Now this one, for a long time, I did not mind or care about. The disappearance film, while leaving one major plot thread open, ended on a note that left me satisfied. That said, it's been over 7 years since that. Nagato's spin-off series back in 2015 was a nice substitute for a while, but the itch for more Haruhi burns. And it burns bright. For me, Haruhi was one of the anime that I watched back when I was first getting into anime seriously, back when I was transitioning to something more than just a casual watcher. It had a quirk to it that most modern shows now, even 10 years after the fact, have not been able to recapture. I miss Haruhi as the unknowing, whimsical god of the universe driven by boredom. I miss Kyon and his boundless amounts of legendary snark. I miss Mikuru getting thrown into embarrassing situations while Itsuki sits in the background with that smarmy smile on his face. You know the one. I miss Nagato's calm and cool composure to the insanity that unfolds around her, despite the massive internal turmoil that she ends up suffering from. Haruhi, back in the day, was a landmark series because it was a perfect example of what anime is and can be. It's wacky and off the wall, but it can also be relaxed and sophisticated, and it knew how to blend those emotions and feelings well. Now, with Kyoto Annie only adapting material that it owns the full rights to, with some recent exceptions, I know full well that the chances of more Haruhi is slim. But that doesn't stop me from pining for more.
なんだこれ。つかなんで俺ら空白が兄弟だって知ってんだ。
No game, no life. This entry should be obvious to anyone who has watched the show. The story of No Game No Life is not done. Not by a long shot. After only 12 episodes, we got left with a series that only just started to ramp up into something that could be great. Hell, the show ended so fast some of us got whiplash. The structure of the series was set up almost like a tournament anime. We had two main characters challenged to a series of games where the stakes got higher and the rewards better and better. They are thrown into a world where games are how decisions get made, arguments fought, and power won. All they have to do is keep winning. But instead of a championship with select athletes, their opponents are the entire populace. Not only the populace, but the mystical beings that inhabit the world and even its previous gods. All of this is an attempt to one day face off against the current god, Tet, the god of games. But we never see that championship fight. Heck, we never even make it to the finals or even the quarterfinals. The best that we got was a crap ton of exhibition games. Games that detailed to us, the audience, and to the main characters how the world works. All in preparation for the real fights to come, but that's it. It's a series that builds up to nothing but a sour ending that left me sad and frustrated. This is something that Madhouse is known for with their TV adaptations, and it's something they've done for a while. Give us 13 episodes of something great that only hints at what could have been, and that's it. Recently, they seem to be breaking away from this model, thank God, but the scars from before have still yet to heal. Now, I know No Game No Life is getting a film later this year, but by all accounts it seems to be a completely separate story. A prequel set in the same world but with a different main cast and a story that doesn't resolve the cliffhanger that we got left with 3 years ago. It might be good. Now the poster looks over-designed to hell and back though, like no one told the artist when to stop.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay?
Hopefully, the film isn't that way, and with luck, it might get popular enough for them to justify continuing the original story, but as with most things on this list, I don't want to get my hopes up too much. So there you have it, 5 anime that deserve a sequel. Did any of yours make the list, or were there any that you wanted to make the list that didn't? Let me know down in the comments below. As per usual, there will be links to various streaming sites in the description below if you are interested in watching the shows mentioned. But if, like me, you get the feeling that some of these stories may never continue properly and you want some real closure, then you might want to check out global.bookwalker.jp. If you haven't heard of it, Bookwalker Global is the official digital seller of Kodokawa, one of Japan's larger publishing companies, and they just so happen to have digital copies of the English light novels and manga for several of the shows I have listed here today, as well as others that I haven't gotten to yet. Not all of the entries from today's list are on there, but enough of them are so that it's worth mentioning. As a special bonus to my viewers, there will be a coupon code in the description, GRRCATA in all lowercase, that you can use for a discount on your first purchase, so feel free to check that out if it interests you. If not, that's fine too. I don't rule your life. And with that, I leave you. A thank you to all of my patrons who make videos like this possible, and a very, very special thanks. Joshua Garcia, Calhoun Boy, Siri Yamako, Victor Ekmark, and Bing Theo for donating already. You guys are supremely awesome. And until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty.